So today we are joined by a Mr. David Turner. David has been a client on the AMF Fat Loss Forever program for the last few months now. I'm just going to ask David a few honest questions about experience and things like that so far. David, how are you doing today, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good, all good. How are you?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well, thank you. So we'll kind of get straight into it, David, and touch on. Let's focus on what was the first question for me is what was the main reason you joined the program?
Yeah, so I suppose I've always been a gym goer. Like I think I joined the gym when I was 16, and so I've always kind of been keen at working out and stuff like that. But essentially, what happened? The lockdown hit. All of a sudden, the gyms closed, and I was left at a wee bit of a loose end. So I started kind of doing the Joe Wicks kind of stuff, which was fine for a couple of months. And I was actually doing that sort of 4 or 5 times a week. But, after a while, the motivation slipped. And, I was going from 4 workouts down to 3, down to 2, down to 1 a week, and then none. And ultimately, I was left in a situation where I was literally doing nothing and wasn't doing anything for a number of weeks. So I think I reached out to you at a point where I just had no motivation to do anything, and it was actually kind of getting me down a wee bit in terms of that stress relief that I was getting from doing a workout I was no longer getting, and I was just letting kind of work overtake my life. And exactly. And the hours that I should have been spent on myself, I was sitting at a laptop doing more and more work, and it really wasn't helping. So I reached out to yourself just to like, the primary reason was to get me back, get that motivation back, and get that accountability back.
Sounds good.
And then the bonus would have been any sort of fat loss or muscle building as a wee bit of a side bonus to that.
That's good. Well, we've certainly achieved both of those. You see David's photos off to the side probably somewhere. But talk to me a bit about a couple of previous approaches you had tried as well. So I know you tried previous coaches and things like that. What was it that differed between this experience to those? Or what better was this? Better was this worse? Or what do you think was the difference between the previous experiences?
So I had 2 coaches previous. The first one was an absolute car crash, to be honest. And ultimately, they set me up with a meal plan whereby I was eating, it was 12 eggs a day that I was eating, and then sort of tuna at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then at various points throughout the day. Now, given the fact that I work an office job, I can't really crack open a tin of tuna at the desk without people kind of turning their nose up at it. So to be honest with you, it just didn't suit. It didn't fit into my lifestyle. It was never going to be sustainable. And ultimately, that's the main difference between what I've done in the past and what I'm currently doing. This program just fits my lifestyle a lot better, and it's something that I can definitely do now. For the long term. You guys give us, within reason, you give us the flexibility and the freedom to kind of do what suits us within kind of boundaries or within guidelines set out by yourself or Jordan, and ultimately it just gives us that kind of freedom and flexibility to plan our week rather than be told what to do and when to eat it. Because previous coaches I've had, it's kind of, if you missed a meal by a minute, it was like a big deal. Or if you did,
my way or the highway.
Aye, exactly. If you didn't hit all the workouts, for the week, it was, a big bad news. And the workouts itself, they were taking like an hour and a half, and you were doing like 14 different exercises for biceps and triceps, and you're just like, this is not for somebody who sits at a desk. Like the main thing is just being the sustainability. Like the program I'm doing just now just fits so much better into my life. So.
I think you made a good point. Like, people will go to coaches like that because they maybe are in great shape or whatever, but they've got no understanding of what it's like to live a normal life. Exactly. What it's like to work in an office. The busy parent or the busy professional doesn't need to concern themselves with doing multiple sets of biceps and calves. Like
exactly,
it's just not required. So, David, what kind of skills do you think you've potentially gained from the program, if any?
I would definitely say, managing my diet and understanding nutrition in a lot more detail, and kind of the importance of eating good food. A lot of the time, when I didn't have a coach, I was kind of, shoving protein bars down my neck, or drinking protein shakes, thinking these are, healthy foods, when ultimately I would have been better actually having a meal like chicken and, and some sort of rice or a wrap or something like that. The calories that you're eating through these kind of protein bars can be quite calorie dense. And you could have a mini sort of meal instead of that. So definitely learned a lot about nutrition. I've learned that you don't need to spend an hour and a half in the gym every day. And also just how to recover from a bad weekend more successfully. So whereas in the past a bad weekend would have led to a bad week, a bad fortnight, a bad month. Whereas now I know exactly, if I have a bad weekend, you suck it up, you go on with it, you tell your coach, and you put an action plan in place to get it kind of rectified.
Yeah, 100%. I love that, mate. I love that. What do you think you've enjoyed most and least about the program?
I'd probably say the education side of things. Other programs, like I said before, you just get told what to do, and you're not really told why you're doing it, or how can you take it forward and implement through like your whole life. Whereas this program's obviously been tailored to me, to a plan that suits myself and suits my kind of working arrangements, and my training and my meals are all structured around that. Whereas, like I said before, I mean, I was having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to eat stuff, and it was a bit of a military operation, making sure that every box was checked or every meal was eaten. Whereas, this has been a lot more flexible. So I've certainly enjoyed that side of things. The least favorite thing's probably been the move over to the Facebook group, believe it or not. I know I've kind of harped on about this before, but I think for myself, it's just I'm not like big on kind of social media and stuff like that. So when it was on the WhatsApp, it was just it suited me a lot more. But I totally get the Facebook group adds a lot more value to the users. And you guys can post up a lot more content than you can in a WhatsApp group. And don't get me wrong, a WhatsApp group, you can end up talking about, the latest kind of Netflix series, and people end up down rabbit holes and you miss information. So I totally understand, but just from my point of view, the WhatsApp was a lot better.
Fair enough. Valued feedback, mate. Valued feedback. What do you think you were maybe most nervous about before joining the program, David, if anything?
I suppose it's kind of like everything that you get when you see the strap line, you're promised, the 4-hour working week, get yourself fit with it or lose fat within 4 hours, with just 4 hours a week. Like you're always a bit wary, and when you're taking that plunge financially, you're always thinking, is it going to do exactly what I think it's going to do? So yeah, I mean, again, from previous experiences of having to spend hours in a gym, hours prepping, I didn't really think that 4 hours a week was actually going to be doable. And lo and behold, it is. And if anything, at the moment with the gyms being shut, my workouts you're lucky if they're 30 minutes. Yes, they're high intensity, but it's 30 minutes, and I just finish my work 5 o'clock. By 5:30, I've done my workout, I'm feeling good, and on a Sunday I do my meal prep, which after the first week took a lot longer, but now I've got it down to a T, and probably within 40 minutes I can get all my meals done for the full week, and then you're just taking it out of the fridge and sticking it in the microwave.
You get into such a rhythm with things, like if you tick the boxes consistently. In terms of your progress, David, quantify it for us. How much have you lost, gained? Well, I know we've switched gears into a more muscle building phase, but how much did you kind of initially lose in that fat loss phase, and then how much kind of lean muscle do you think you've put on in the phase following?
Second half, So I started, I think I was 80 kilos when I first joined, and then in about 3 months I lost about 5 kilos, so I got down to about 75, and now we've gradually started to build that up. So I'm sitting at about 78 and a half, nearly 79. So yeah, and I'm in probably the best kind of shape I've been in terms of weight and size, and not really carrying a lot of fat.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, David, you lost 5 kilos, but I mean, that was really all you had to lose.
Yeah, I was getting pretty lean.
I mean, and you'll obviously, photos will maybe be off to the side for whoever's watching. If they're not, fine. But David's got abs at where he's at just now. You know, he's very, very lean. So incredible effort, mate. And I think you were primed for a muscle building phase after that. What do you feel the program has given you most in terms of overall health, confidence, education? I know you mentioned that being a pillar. What do you think if it's given you most?
Yeah, probably education and confidence again. I think, like, as I touched on before, it was not going or not working out and just feeling a bit rubbish about my body was definitely having an impact on my mental kind of state. And from a confidence point of view, like, you know, when I've got a job where I can present to people or speak to people on a daily basis, and you know, you do start to have kind of small niggles in your mind about certain things that you probably shouldn't, but it's just subconscious. And certainly from a stress relief point of view, like getting back into working out and stuff has done me the world of good, and getting your sleep, it gets your sleep back on track and all that as well. So there's been a lot of benefits, you know, both from health, confidence and education.
Yeah, 100%. How does that feel to be back in your A game?
Fantastic. Like it makes everything worthwhile. You know, like you go through, there's a lot of times where you don't want to do that workout, but like when you take a step back and you think, do you know what, I'll feel so much better for it once I do it, and it's so true.
Yeah, 100%. Anyone, final question, David, anyone who's on the fence thinking of potentially joining the program, what's your words to them?
Just do it. Like, honestly, you know, the best thing you can do is invest in yourself, and in your health more than anything. I mean, I was daft, and I spent a lot of money on other coaches that I probably shouldn't have. Like you say, I was looking at people who I thought had a great physique, but it didn't really fit what I wanted to do. But yeah, ultimately, if you invest in yourself, you're only going to reap the rewards. And my advice to anyone considering it would be stop considering it and just take action.
Yeah, good man. Thank you very much, David. David, I mean, for anyone listening, David has been the perfect client. Like, action to process. Listen, there's been slip-ups. I think the dog text me to say the Domino's one night or something like that. Like, shit happens. Like, it's fine. You know, like, but he's always saddled up and got back on with it. And there's never been, to my knowledge, a bad week. Or certainly never two. So that's what it's all about. Staying consistent, staying focused, and just ticking the boxes. So, David, been an absolute pleasure having you on board, mate, to be honest. And excited to see what can happen in the muscle building phase, mate. And we'll hopefully have gyms next month as well.
Fingers crossed.
Could be a nice benefit. But David, really,
Thanks, Andrew.
Really appreciate your time today, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.